Here we are. Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good day. Hello, hi, and hello. Welcome to Spiritual Living Circle of One, where we meet every Tuesday between the hours of 7 until 7:30 on the East Coast, 7 to 7:30 on the East Coast, 4 till 4:30 on the West. So now what we're doing is we're concluding the book of Ruth. This evening, after this evening, there is no more book of Ruth will be presented. All right, we still will be presenting women of the Bible from a feminist perspective, not so much from a biblical perspective, but certainly from a feminist perspective. Of course, since it is coming from, the information is coming from the Bible, then naturally there will be some verses um, involved. But the overall theme comes from the approach of um, examining and exploring women today and our position today, where we are in society today versus where we were 1,200 years before Common Era or 1,200 years before Christ. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. So now we're going to engage in a meditational exercise. I usually do this with the Thursday evening group, but this evening we're going to do it this evening. Okay. Oh, and those of you, you know that I do saging. All right, you know that that's my thing. I sage. All right. So I just want to make sure that all is well. All right. So here we are. We're doing everything right. So as we know, when we do the right thing, then the next right thing happens. When we do the right thing, then all is well in our world. That's just the way karma works. That's the way uh, the law works. Divine love, reaping and sowing. We reap what we sow. What goes around comes around. That's just the way it works. Okay. I wish I had better news for you, but whatever we plant watermelon, you're not going to get apples. You plant plums, you're not going to get cucumbers. It doesn't work that way. Okay. The universe does not play favorites. It is what it is, and it does not play favorites. What we're supposed to be looking at, there we are. That's what we're supposed to be looking at. Thank you so much for working with the law of love. It's just been one thing after the other. But you see, see what I do? I sit here smiling because this is what the whole world is about. This is what life is about. Taking lemons and making lemonade. Okay? So what we're going to do is for the next 5 minutes, we're going to engage in a meditational exercise. And while I'm waiting on this computer to do what it's supposed to do, time waits for no one. Time waits for no one. I cannot believe this, but this is the way it is. When you're supposed to try to do something and all you want to do is just do the right thing, but it's not going to work. So that's okay. That's fine. All is well. All is well. Tell you what I'm going to do. You'll just see my face for the next 5 minutes. How's that? Is that okay? I hope so. Because guess what? That's what you're going to be looking at for the next 5 minutes. Okay. Saging is a some would say it's a Native American practice, a spiritual practice. Some would say that. Some would say that it is a Buddhist practice. I'm not quite clear. Maybe I ought to know. The bottom line is, I just like doing it because it helps me to relax. No, it's not something that gets one high. What it does is, it simply, for me, it cleanses the aura and it cleanses the chakra. I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to turn it over here so you can see. And you see this? Hold on a minute. Hold on. You see that? Okay. This is sage. And so what you do is you light it. Then when it's lit, and then you blow it out. And then it's left with the embers, and then you do this. And what you're doing is you're cleansing your spirit. You blow it because it's supposed to stay. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're looking at is live, okay? So however it's supposed to work out is how it's supposed to work out. Okay. So for the next few minutes, just cleansing the area, just cleansing the area. I gave my home a thorough saging yesterday around 7 p.m. And I wanted this area cleansed of all the negative energy. And all I wanted was positive energy around here, period. Period, the end is all I wanted. So what I'd like for us to do is to become comfortable in our chair. If you feel much more comfortable lying down, then you do so. If you feel comfortable sitting in a chair, you're lying on the floor. If you're sitting in a chair, you're sitting on the floor. Wherever you are, if you're even on a train, if you can become still and concentrate and go within, then that is the objective of this exercise. The objective of this exercise is to become still, to be able to relax, to be able to listen to the still small voice within. No, not to hear voices, but to be able to listen to the still small voice within, the one that guides us, points us in the very direction that we ought to go. It points us in the right direction. So we're listening to the still small voice within. What we're going to do is to take a few deep breaths. We're going to breathe in and out very slowly. We're going to breathe in and out very slowly. Focusing in on our breathing, focusing in on our chakra, focusing on nothing else but what's going on within. We're only focusing on what's going on within. No more, no less. Just take a few deep breaths. Inhale slowly. Exhale. Again. Inhale slowly. Exhale. slowly. Exhale. I will count from 1 to 4. We will inhale and we will exhale. When I count from 1 to 4, it will be as follows. Inhale, and we'll inhale for 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's begin inhaling slowly. Begin. We will sit in the silence in order to hear the still small voice of our own personal understanding, to listen to the guiding voice of your own personal higher power, to listen to that still small voice that is wherever present, all day and all night, everywhere present, higher power. As we get to know that voice, what it sounds like, what it feels like, no matter what's going on in our outer world, we know that our higher power and our serenity is as close as our next breath. When we are in the world, when we are surrounded by all chaos, we know that peace is attainable by going within. We will sit in the silence and we will meditate and we will get into the atmosphere and get to understand and become familiar with that voice, with that sound, with the inner intuition of the one. We will do this for the next 5 minutes, beginning now. As I'm counting from 10 back to 1, you are bringing with you the truth of our universal oneness. You are bringing with you the truth of your beauty, your harmony, your inner justice, your truth. As I count from 10 back to 1, you will bring with you your self-awareness and your self-esteem. 10, 9, 8, you're greater than you could possibly imagine. 7, 6, 5, you are greater than you could possibly imagine. 4, 3, you are now returning to this atmosphere. You are returning to your surroundings. You are aware of where you are. 2, you have returned to your body. You have returned to your immediate surroundings. You are aware of where you are and who you are. 1, when you are ready, open your eyes. When you are ready, open your eyes to the truth. And the truth is, you are greater than you could ever possibly imagine. Okay, so let us now go into the next phase of this evening's presentation, which is you have your own screen, and I'm going to give you this one. This will be the one you're going to be looking at. Capiche? You're going to be looking at this one. Okay, so let us begin here. We're going to go, even though it says it's going to be 7 till 7:30, allow me 10 minutes. Okay, 10 little minutes. Okay, so now the overall story of Ruth, the book of Ruth, only has 4 chapters. And so the overall story is Ruth's husband and his sons died, leaving Ruth and Orpah and Ruth, leaving Naomi, Ruth, and Orpah widows. Naomi has property in another city. Naomi says to Ruth and Orpah, stay, you're young, you have no children, you'll fit back into society, don't bother coming with me. Orpah says, okay, she's the youngest, okay, I'll stay. Ruth, on the other hand, she wants to go with Naomi. So they both go to Judea. They both go to Judea. And when they arrive there, there is a man there that is overseeing the property of Naomi's husband. And his name is Boaz. In order for Naomi to be able to obtain her husband's property, she has to either marry someone, a man. She has to either marry a man, or she has to have one of her daughters to marry. Okay, because why? Back then, women could not own property. So then the man's name come on, Paul. The man's name was Elimelech. His wife's name was Naomi. The names of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion. They were Ephrathites from Bethlehem, Judah, and they went to Moab and lived there. Please see Ruth, 1st chapter, the verses, chapters 1 and 2. Here is Ruth. It's a picture. This is an image of what Ruth may have looked like. This is Ruth, this is Naomi, this is Boaz. Again, these are images of what they may have looked like. All right. As we looked at this last week, last video, this is a breakdown of the 4 chapters of Ruth. I won't go into it. There's a video, the last video, video 2 on Ruth. You watch it and it outlines in detail what the 4 chapters are about. Naomi and Ruth agree to move forward. All 3 are having mutual grief. Ruth and Naomi and Boaz, they have a mutual pursuit, which is to obtain the land. And then we'll move over to 4, Boaz and Ruth, they get married. Here we have an image of Ruth was instructed by Naomi to go and to, how can I put this? To go and be with Boaz. She didn't really word it that way. She kind of dressed up the instructions, but in essence, it was to go and be with Boaz just to get to know him and what have you. It was the word feet was used. And so as we said last week, the word feet translated means genitals. Okay, so she was to go and to open up his feet. There was an apron or cloth that was covering his feet. And so the objective was to uncover his feet. So thus, that's what she did. So here you see an image of Ruth and Boaz. He's asleep, and so she is with him. Ruth follows the instruction of Naomi, goes to Boaz, lays next to him, and instead of Ruth following the detailed instruction of Naomi, she, which is Ruth, improvises. She does the exact opposite of what Ruth instructed her to do. When Ruth returned to her mother-in-law, Naomi asked her, "How did it go, my daughter?" Then Ruth told her all that Boaz had done for her. And she said, "He gave me these 6 measures of barley, for he said, 'Do not go back to your mother-in-law empty-handed.'" I'm fast forwarding a little bit. Here we have a picture of that we have an image of what Boaz may have looked like, considering the geographical area of where he was on the planet. So while you're looking at that photo, I'm going to be over here. You go right ahead and you watch that photo. Make yourself at home. Okay, here we go. So as I said, Naomi asks Ruth, in essence, what happened. So Ruth is saying, you told me what to do, I did it, and it worked. Ruth left out a lot. She didn't say anything about how assertive she was, how aggressive she was, how uh, how Naomi instructed her to be modest and meek, and that is not what Ruth did. Ruth liked him, and so they became acquainted, for lack of a better term. So Ruth, like Naomi in the Bible, they're not talked, nobody talks to them, they're talked about. This is the way it is here in society today. In some circles, some cultural circles, women are not addressed. Women are talked about. We're talked about in third person. We're talked we talk around, conversations will be about us or involved about us, but we're not included in the conversation, although the conversation involves us. So Ruth, like Naomi, does not talk, but she's talked about. So there were some male elders. Boaz needed the okay of elders because the property that belonged to Elimelech now is in the air because Naomi's not allowed to own the property. Fine. So, uh, so Boaz, he gathers 10 elders, male elders. So they sit at the gate. So they talk back and forth about who's going to do what, how it's going to happen. They talk about the pros and cons. So Boaz presents the case of Naomi and Ruth. So Boaz is presenting the case to the elders. And so Boaz is saying, well, there is a kinsman that's available, that's next in line to marry Ruth and to marry Ruth so they can maintain Elimelech's property. Well, okay. So Boaz approaches the kinsman. His name is never mentioned. When I say kinsman, he's kin, he's next of kin. His name is never mentioned. He's next in line to marry Ruth so they can all keep his property. The kinsman says, well, I thank you very much, but initially he said yes. But then when he realized that he was going to inherit Naomi and that he was going to have to marry Ruth, then he realized that if he did that, that he would forfeit the property that was already willed to him, that he was next in line for a bigger piece of a pie. So he was now willing to relinquish the bigger picture for lack of a better term, the smaller fish, even though it was a lot of acreage involved in Elimelech's property. That property was able to produce an income, barley, grain, wheat, and what have you. But the young man, he didn't want it because he was already promised to marry someone else, in essence. But Boaz approached the kinsman and he asked him, do you want to marry Ruth so we could keep this property in the family? So when the man found out that the obligation involved purchasing the land from Naomi and marrying her, he decided that he would decline. What picture do you all have? Need to know what picture you guys are looking at because I want to make sure that you have the right picture. You looking at this one? Okay, so we talked about that. Boaz redeems Ruth. Boaz redeems Ruth. Okay, now the term redeemer and kinsman, redeemer. In Israel, the kinsman redeemer might fulfill one of two roles. First, he must redeem a member of his family who had become a slave. None of them were slaves, it's just that, he didn't fit that category. Secondly, he might marry a close relative whose husband had died, delivering her from poverty, continuing the name of the dead husband. That fit the category of Naomi and Elimelech. Some male had to marry into the family or the property would have been forfeited. Why? Because women did not own property. And that is the way it was back then. Now, while you're looking at that, you'll allow me, you'll indulge me while I am over here. Very interesting story. Okay, first of all, what is a kinsman? If you were on Facebook earlier, then you see that I had some questions posted. For whatever reason, on Google, once upon a time, we were able to post stuff, but we're not able to do it anymore. So what is a kinsman? A kinsman redeemer, what is that? What is a kinsman redeemer? Well, there is a word, G-O''E-L, next word, capital H-A, capital D-A-H-M. Goel Hadam is a Hebrew term which comes from the word L-I-G'-O-L. That word means to redeem. Hence, the meaning is redeemer, which in the Hebrew Bible and the rabbinical tradition denotes a person who was the nearest relative of another and is in charge with the duty of restoring the rights of another and avenging his wrong. And that is what Boaz was trying to do with the other kinsman. The kinsman didn't want to have anything to do with it. So, all right, so Boaz was, he was going to save the day. Okay. How was Ruth related to Boaz in the Bible? How? The son of Salmon, S-A-L-M-O-N, Boaz was the son of Salmon, was a wealthy landowner of Bethlehem in Judea and relative of Elimelech, which is Naomi's late husband. He, Boaz, noticed Ruth, the widowed Moabite daughter-in-law of Naomi, while Ruth was in the fields gleaning the grains. Like I said earlier, you had wheat, you had various grains, and so Ruth was in the field and she was working. What is the Boaz blessing? Boaz was blessed. So there's something called Boaz blessing. The Boaz blessing is a book of encouragement to see how good, correction. The Boaz blessing is a book of encouragement to see how God ordered Boaz, Ruth, and Naomi's footsteps and to see where God led them and how he put them together. The book also shares with greater insight that God will take care of all of us, all of our needs, if we walk in its will. Now, I'm hoping that you see this because it's important that you get the gist of this whole thing. Now, I'm about to show you a diagram, but I want you to really be open, okay? Those of you that know of me, you know I draw from many avenues to strive for point, but the avenues, as this one, are always appropriate, always appropriate. So while reading this next diagram, I want you to understand that this word is in 2 syllables, Boaz, Boaz, like the Wizard of Oz. So when you're reading this, I want you to remember Oz. Say Oz. Oz. Say it again. Oz. Say it one more time. Oz. You ready? Okay. I want you to keep this in perspective. Okay. To all of the girls who are in a hurry to have a boyfriend or get married, a piece of biblical advice. Ruth patiently waited for her mate, Boaz. While you're waiting on your Boaz, don't settle for any of his relatives, which is broke Oz, poor Oz, this is Oz now, Oz, Len Oz, cheating Oz, dumb Oz, drunk Oz, cheap Oz, locked up Oz, excuse me, good for nothing Oz, Laz Yaz, and especially his third cousin, Beat Oz. Wait on your Boaz and make sure he respects you. So, in other words, what that means is men and women, we have men and women when we work and we strive to have something in our life because we really want to have something. We cannot do it alone. We're always going to need help. Okay. So when we walk with dignity, walk with self-respect, walk with self-esteem, then we know that our good is already available and waiting for us. So do not sell yourself short. Boaz is a symbol. It's a symbol of what we can have. In other words, like attracts like. Ruth and Naomi, they attracted to each other because they had the same goal in mind, preservation and loyalty. All right. So that was their equal attraction. Then Boaz and Ruth, there was an attraction because just because Ruth was with Naomi did not necessarily mean that Boaz had to be attracted to Ruth. There was something about Ruth that attracted Boaz. So like attracts like, the law of attraction. We attract what we are, what we're about. So Boaz saw, here's this woman. She's nice. She is quiet. She works hard. She minds her business. So he liked those redeeming qualities. So he asked about her. When he saw her in the field, he said, "Who is she?" So the workers in the field said, "She came back with Naomi." Apparently, Naomi had some kind of clout because they didn't say she came back with some woman or she came back with someone and we don't know who this woman is. They said that that Ruth came back with Naomi. So Boaz says, "Oh, okay." So long story short, when we're looking for a mate, when we're looking for someone in our life to be in our life, then we must understand what is it that we are bringing to the table? What is it that we're looking for? What have we done in our life, well and affairs, to improve ourselves so we can attract that which we want, that which we say we want, that which we are all about? What are we doing in our life to make sure that what we say we want, that we are bringing it into from the invisible realm into the visible realm? What are we doing to make our life more improved? What are we doing? So Ruth had a matchmaker, which was Naomi. We all have our internal matchmaker, which is basic common sense. That is our internal matchmaker, basic common sense. All right. Are there any questions? I have the chat room open. Are there any questions at all before we close? Are there? Going once, going twice. Let us now close out with the prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. wherever we are, God is. This is so, and so it is. Thank you very much for being a part of this evening's presentation. Thank you. If you care to email me, my email address is B as in Barbara Williams, B Williams, WILLIAMSMMSC at yahoo.com. I thank you very much. I'm very appreciative. Thank you. Bye.